Okay, we are back. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, here with the co-hosts Andrea Kay and Urban Miaris. And our final guest of the day is somebody that's making a huge difference in our community. Welcome, Tonya Torosian from Promises2Kids.
Hi, good morning.
So tell us a little bit about Promises2Kids. What do you do?
We care for foster children. So from the minute they unfortunately have to come into foster care all the way through to adulthood, we make sure that they're loved, cared, and supported.
That's amazing. So when you say you care for foster kids, I'm looking down here, and you've cared for over 50,000 foster kids.
Yeah, that's just through our initial project as well, which is the Polinsky Children's Center. We're probably best known for that project. Started about 30 years ago and started by building a solution for where we used to care for children who had been victims of abuse and neglect. It was called Hillcrest Receiving Home. Mm-hmm. It was licensed for about 16 children, and on any given day it had upwards of 60. So it was inadequate. Wow. Just wasn't the way that you would want a child cared for. And so a dedicated group of individuals came together. We raised over $12 million and partnered with the county, who gave us 6 acres of land, and we built and opened Polinsky Children's Center.
Okay. Well, a lot of people would ask why there needs to be a nonprofit for foster children, since the states have foster care services.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our partnership is really unique. We do not take government contract fee-for-service money, which is unusual for a lot of nonprofits that do serve foster children. We believe in filling the gaps that are left behind by public support. So, perfect example is the Polinsky Children's Center. We built that center, and then when it was complete, we turned it over as a gift to the county. So they run it. They operate it. It costs about $23 million a year to operate.
Wow.
They staff it. And then what we do is we provide about $200,000 cash support a year to direct services for those kids. So we contract directly with providers, bring in pet therapy, different things like health and recreation services, developmental assessments utilizing Rady Children's Hospital. So it's a nice partnership where we know that the county can't possibly meet all of the needs of a child in foster care, and we come behind and just make up that little extra.
When you work with foster children, when you really get to know them, it breaks your heart. Barry knows I work with kids in high school that are developmentally disabled, and a majority of them are foster children. And it's, Jerry has his kids with the muscular dystrophy. I have my kids in this population with those with developmental disabilities, and I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about them. It's not their fault, and these kids have been kicked around so much in life. It's unfair. It really is, and it breaks your heart. And of course, we bring them down a sailing program, and everybody comes down to the dock to cheer them on.
Yeah.
But it must also feel good, though, Tonya, doesn't it, to help them, to know the amount of help and support that you give these children that are so forgotten about in our society?
Yeah, it does. I started as a social worker about, over 20 years ago in Chicago, and I was doing initial investigations, removals from homes, and it was pretty horrific in terms of what I saw. But it was the first encounter I ever had with foster care. I didn't know it existed. My family, I never had heard of really child abuse or experienced that. And so from that moment, I saw, just as we were talking, that nobody speaks for these children, and nobody is there to stand up for them. They get lost in a system. And so there's that heartbreak piece of it. You know why a child's there. It's pretty bad to be removed from your home. It takes a lot. And so that they've experienced more than anybody should. Ever. But what I like is when I'm sitting in my office and our older kids come in, they're guardian scholars, the kids that we support going to college, and they'll come in and they'll say something like, "Oh, I'm graduating this year. Never thought I could. Wow. And first in my family to even finish high school, and now I'm getting my bachelor degree, my doctorate degree." It's pretty amazing.
That is amazing. You're listening to Close Up on San Diego Business here on KFSD AM 1450 and financialnewsandtalk.com. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, here with my co-hosts Andrea Kay and Urban Miaris, and our guest is Tonya Torosian from Promises2Kids. So you do a lot of the Guardian Scholarship Program. Is that correct?
We do. About 10 years ago, we were approached by an organization in Orange County who had started Guardian Scholars with Cal State Fullerton. And they said nobody in San Diego is doing anything to support foster youth education. And there's major universities there. So would you take it on? And we did. And we first started with community college, and we worked with them around vocational training opportunities, community college, and then college transfer programs. And at that time, when we talked to universities, they said, we don't have foster kids. I said, yes, you do. You may not know you do. You may not recognize their needs, but you do. And so they weren't really that interested. And now I'm proud to say there's a lot of legislation that has occurred over time with a lot of advocates nationally that has changed the conversation. And almost every school has special allowances and support for foster children now. So what we do is no matter where a child goes, it could be a local school, it could be across the country, we will support that child with scholarship, mentoring. We send them care packages in the mail.
Oh.
So we sort of become that family support that they don't have, that many of us did.
Well, let me put out a little wish list here since we're on air.
Yeah.
If Promises to Kids could gain something, what from the general public who could come to help you, what's the one thing that we could help with?
Well, there's actually two. One, their time. So they could volunteer at a number of capacities, including being a mentor for these young adults.
Kind of like big brothers, big sisters?
Yeah, it's an unusual relationship because these people are in college, so the young adults are in college. So there's a little bit, it's unique because it's not, a child, but they're still in need of all of that support that somebody else would, and career guidance and things like that. The second thing would be to help sponsor a student. We currently have, for every child that we can support, we turn away two. And they're just as deserving as the other child that we do pick up. It's just strictly funding. So it costs us $5,000 a year to support one child through their college experience. So we need sponsors.
Interesting. We need to connect Tonya with Dan Negroni, too, who does a lot of the work with millennials. You talk about career guidance.
Yeah.
I think Dan could do a great job.
Good idea.
Yeah, that would be great.
So, by the way, the mentoring is you get so much more back. Mm-hmm. I do the 15 kids per semester, and some of them they call me every once in a while on the phone, and they're now in their early 30s, so it's so rewarding, it really is.
Well, you guys, we've only got a few minutes left. You guys have a big event coming up Monday, don't you?
We do. Monday night we have an event at La Jolla State Home of Joan Waite. She's on our board, and she hosts us every year, and it's called Dream On. And we are bringing in Kenny Loggins, and we are going to be having a full concert. It's our 6th year, and so it's grown. We have 600 people. We're sold out.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, we are.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
Too bad we can't do a live on-location show there.
Shoot.
I know,
Darn.
I know.
So.
But we also have a golf tournament coming up.
Okay.
So that's also La Jolla Country Club, and that will be September 15th. We're looking for volunteers to help me plan the tournament because I don't know how to golf.
I know somebody I completely
So that could be helpful. And two, also to play and sponsor that event.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, since we are running short on time, tell our listeners how they can find you, find more information on Promises to Kids, and how they can get in touch.
Yeah, if you're interested, go to our website. It's promises2kids.org. And you can view videos. I think we have 3 different videos on there, read kids' stories, we have blogs, and all the information you could possibly need.
Do you also have success stories on there as well that people can get inspired by?
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
And it's graduation season, so if you go to our Facebook, you'll see updates on all the youth that are graduating this year that were through our Guardian Scholars program.
Wonderful.
Great.
All right.
Well, we appreciate you being with us. Any final thoughts? What you have the golf tournament and anything else coming up?
Those are our 2 events. I would just like to thank the community. I know we're lucky in San Diego. It's extremely charitable, and corporations and nonprofits, public-private partnership.
Well, I think we have a lot of people that we can send your way, and I intend on doing some of that.
Great, thank you.
Great.
Wonderful.
Well, thanks for being with us. You're listening to Close Up on San Diego Business, where we get up close and personal with homegrown San Diego businesses and the people that are working hard to make a difference in our community. This is financialnewsandtalk.com. I'm your host, Barry Waxler. We'll be back next week with another great show, and all I can say is stay awesome, San Diego. We love you. We will be back next week.